Single dad helped his boss make a dating profile. She smiled and said, "Why don't you just take me out?" Have you ever had that moment when life throws you a curveball so perfect you can barely believe it's real? That's exactly what happened to me. If you're enjoying this story, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more real-life stories that might just restore your faith in love and second chances. I still remember the exact moment everything changed. The office was quiet that Friday evening. Most of my colleagues had already left for the weekend, but there I was, hunched over my laptop, squinting at the bright screen as I tried to finish one last report before heading home to pick up my daughter from the babysitter. "Working late again, James?" I looked up to see Eliza standing in my doorway. Eliza Chen, my boss for the past 3 years. Brilliant, composed, intimidating in the best possible way. The woman who had taken a chance on me when I was a newly single dad struggling to balance a career with raising a 5-year-old on my own. "Just wrapping up," I said, trying to stifle a yawn. "Madison's with Mrs. Peterson until 7, so I've got a little time." Eliza lingered in the doorway, which was unusual. Typically, she was all business, quick conversations, efficient emails, no wasted moments. But tonight, something was different. She seemed hesitant, almost nervous. "Everything okay?" I asked. She took a deep breath. "Actually, I was wondering if I could ask for your help with something personal." That was how it started. A simple request that would change everything. My name is James Sullivan. 34 years old, single father to the most amazing 8-year-old girl in the world, and senior marketing analyst at Chen Innovations. And this is the story of how helping my boss create a dating profile led to the most unexpected turn in my life. 3 years earlier, my world had shattered when my wife, Melissa, died in a car accident. One moment we were a happy family of 3, and the next, I was alone with our daughter Madison, trying to figure out how to move forward when it felt impossible to even breathe. I took a leave of absence from my previous job, but when I returned, I quickly realized the demanding hours weren't compatible with being a single parent. That's when I applied to Chen Innovations. The position offered more flexibility, and though it meant a slight pay cut, the work-life balance was worth it. Eliza Chen, the company's founder and CEO, conducted my final interview herself. "Your qualifications are impressive," she had said, reviewing my resume. "But there's a gap here." I explained about Melissa, about becoming a single parent overnight. I expected sympathy, maybe pity. What I got instead was respect. "I grew up with a single father," she told me. "It's the hardest job in the world. The fact that you're here, interviewing for a position while managing that responsibility, tells me everything I need to know about your work ethic." She hired me that day. Over the next 3 years, Eliza proved to be demanding but fair. She expected excellence but also understood when I needed to leave early for Madison's school events or stay home when she was sick. I respected her immensely, both as a boss and as a person. But our relationship had always been strictly professional. Until that Friday evening when she asked for my help with a dating profile. "I haven't dated in years," she confessed, sitting down across from me. "My friends keep telling me I need to put myself out there, but I have no idea where to start. They mention these apps, but it all seems so exposed." I couldn't help but smile. Eliza Chen, who could command a boardroom full of investors without breaking a sweat, was intimidated by dating apps. "Why me?" I asked. She shrugged, a rare gesture of uncertainty from someone usually so decisive. "You mentioned once that you tried dating apps after your wife. And you're honest. You'll tell me if my profile sounds ridiculous." I had indeed tried dating apps briefly about a year after Melissa died, more to appease my well-meaning friends than out of any real desire to meet someone. It had been a disaster. I wasn't ready, and every conversation felt forced, every date a betrayal to Melissa's memory. "I'm probably not the best person to ask for dating advice," I admitted. "My experience wasn't exactly successful. But you understand what it's like to start over, she said quietly. That's more valuable than you might think. There was something vulnerable in her expression that I'd never seen before. Eliza was 36, brilliant, successful, and strikingly beautiful with her dark eyes and the subtle streaks of silver in her black hair that she never bothered to hide. I'd always assumed she was single by choice, too focused on building her company to bother with relationships. Okay, I said finally. I'll help. But fair warning, I might be terrible at this. She smiled, relief evident in her expression. Thank you. I appreciate it more than you know. We agreed to meet the following evening at a coffee shop near my apartment. Mrs. Peterson, my elderly neighbor who had become like a grandmother to Madison, was happy to watch her for a few hours. About time you got out a little, she said with a knowing smile that I chose to ignore. The coffee shop was quiet when I arrived, just a few students with laptops and a couple in the corner speaking in hushed tones. I chose a table near the back and ordered a coffee, feeling strangely nervous. This wasn't a date, I reminded myself. This was just helping a colleague, my boss, with something personal. Eliza arrived precisely on time, as she did for everything. But instead of the tailored suits she wore at the office, she was dressed in jeans and a simple blue sweater, her hair loose around her shoulders. It was like seeing a different person entirely. Sorry I'm late, she said, though she wasn't. You're right on time, I replied, gesturing to the empty chair across from me. She sat down, placing her phone on the table between us. So, how do we do this? For the next hour, we worked on creating her dating profile. I helped her download one of the more reputable apps, and we discussed what photos to use and what to write in her bio. It was strange seeing Eliza this way, uncertain, occasionally even self-deprecating. At the office, she was always so confident, so in control. What about this one? She asked, showing me a photo of herself at what looked like a charity gala, elegant in a black dress. It's nice, I said, but maybe something more casual too. Dating profiles should show different sides of you. She scrolled through her phone. I don't take many casual photos. No hiking pictures? Vacation selfies? Photos with friends? She shook her head. I'm not much for selfies, and my vacations usually involve conferences in different cities. I couldn't help but laugh. You're supposed to relax on vacation, not work more. Says the man who answers emails at his daughter's soccer games, she countered with a raised eyebrow. Touché. We eventually found a few suitable photos, Eliza at a business award ceremony, Eliza with her parents during Lunar New Year, Eliza reading on a park bench, taken by her sister, she explained. Then came the harder part, the bio. Just write something about yourself, I suggested. What you enjoy doing, what you're looking for. She stared at the blank field. This feels like the world's most important cover letter. It's not that serious, I assured her. Just be yourself. That's terrible advice, she said, but she was smiling. Being myself is what's kept me single this long. I felt a strange twist in my chest at her words. There's nothing wrong with who you are, Eliza. She looked up, surprised by my earnestness. For a moment, we just looked at each other, and I became acutely aware of how close we were sitting, how different this was from our usual interactions at the office. She broke the silence first. Okay, how's this, CEO by day, amateur chef by night? Looking for someone who doesn't mind discussing business strategies over homemade pasta. You cook? I asked, genuinely surprised. Is that so hard to believe? A little, yeah. I figured you survived on takeout and coffee, like most CEOs in movies. She laughed, a real laugh that transformed her face. I find cooking relaxing. It's precise but creative. Like solving a problem with a delicious outcome. That should definitely be in your profile, I said. It's unexpected and interesting. We continued refining her profile, and I found myself enjoying the process more than I'd anticipated. Eliza was revealing sides of herself I'd never seen: her dry sense of humor, her passion for historical documentaries, her collection of vintage vinyl records. With each new detail, the professional distance between us seemed to shrink. "What about you?" she asked suddenly. "Are you still on any of these apps?" I shook my head. "I deleted them all a while ago. It just didn't feel right." "Because of Madison?" "Partly," I admitted. "Dating as a single parent is complicated. But also, I don't know. It felt like I was trying to replace something that can't be replaced." She nodded, understanding in her eyes. "I can't imagine what that's like. Losing someone you love that way. It changes you," I said simply. "Makes you realize how fragile everything is." A comfortable silence fell between us. Outside, it had started to rain, droplets racing down the coffee shop windows, blurring the streetlights into golden smears. "Can I ask you something personal?" Eliza said finally. "Sure. Do you think you'll ever be ready? To date again, I mean." I considered the question carefully. 2 years ago, even 1 year ago, my answer would have been an immediate no. But lately, I'd started to feel differently. The crushing grief had gradually transformed into something more manageable, a dull ache rather than a sharp pain. I still loved Melissa, would always love her, but the idea of sharing my life with someone again no longer felt like a betrayal. "I think I might be," I said slowly. "Madison's been asking why I don't have a girlfriend. She told me last month that she thinks Mommy would want me to be happy." "Smart kid," Eliza said softly. "Too smart sometimes," I agreed. "But she's right. Melissa would want me to move forward. It's just finding the right person, someone who understands that Madison comes first, and that Melissa will always be part of our lives." Eliza nodded, then turned her attention back to her phone. "Okay, I think the profile is done. Should I publish it?" I leaned over to look at the screen, our shoulders touching briefly. Her profile was perfect, authentic, interesting, with just the right balance of professional accomplishment and personal warmth. Any man would be lucky to match with her. The thought made me unexpectedly uncomfortable. "It looks great," I said, leaning back in my chair. "You'll probably have dozens of matches by tomorrow." She took a deep breath and pressed the button to make her profile live. There. No turning back now. We finished our coffees, talking about work and Madison and Eliza's upcoming business trip to Chicago. It was the most relaxed conversation we'd ever had, and I found myself reluctant for the evening to end. As we stood outside the coffee shop, preparing to say goodbye, Eliza looked at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. "Thank you for this, James. It was nice to talk about something other than quarterly reports." "Anytime," I said, meaning it. "Good luck with the dating app. Let me know how it goes." She nodded, hesitated for a moment as if she wanted to say something else, then simply smiled and walked toward her car. I watched her go, feeling strangely unsettled. Over the next few weeks, I found myself thinking about that evening more often than I should have. At work, our relationship remained professional, but there was a new ease between us, small moments of connection that hadn't existed before. She would ask about Madison, I would inquire about her matches on the dating app, and we'd share knowing smiles when colleagues wondered about our inside jokes. One evening, about a month after we'd created her profile, Eliza stopped by my office just as I was preparing to leave. "How's the dating app experience going?" I asked, shutting down my computer. She leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. "Terrible. I've had 3 dates so far. One talked about his ex-wife for 2 hours straight, one was clearly just interested in networking with a CEO, and the third had misrepresented his age by about 15 years. I couldn't help but laugh. The joys of modern dating. I'm beginning to think I was better off alone, she said, but she was smiling. Actually, I wanted to ask you something. Madison's school fundraiser is this weekend, right? The one you mentioned? I nodded, surprised she'd remembered. Saturday afternoon. They're raising money for new playground equipment. Would it be inappropriate if I came? To support the school, I mean. Our company could make a donation. The offer caught me off guard. That's generous, but you don't have to do that. I want to, she said simply. Unless you'd rather I didn't come. No, it's fine, I said quickly. Madison would be thrilled to see you. She still talks about when you came to career day last year. Eliza smiled, clearly pleased. Great. Text me the details. Will do. She turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and James? Maybe don't mention to Madison that I've been going on dates. I wouldn't want her to get the wrong idea about why I'm coming to the fundraiser. The implication hung in the air between us. What wrong idea, exactly? That Eliza was interested in me? The thought sent an unexpected thrill through me, followed immediately by confusion and guilt. Of course, I managed to say. See you Saturday. The school fundraiser was held in the gymnasium, transformed for the occasion with colorful streamers and handmade signs. Various booths lined the walls, bake sales, raffles, games for the children. Madison was helping at the face painting station, her own face adorned with glittery butterflies. I was supervising the ring toss when I saw Eliza enter. She looked different again, dressed in casual clothes, jeans, a light sweater, and sneakers, with her hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. Several heads turned as she walked in, parents recognizing the founder of one of the city's most successful tech startups. Madison spotted her immediately and came running over, face paint glittering under the gymnasium lights. Ms. Chen. You came. Eliza knelt down to Madison's level, something I'd never seen her do before. I wouldn't miss it. Your dad told me you're helping with face painting. Those butterflies look amazing. Madison beamed. Do you want me to paint something on your face too? Eliza glanced up at me, a question in her eyes. I shrugged, smiling. When in Rome. I'd love that, she told Madison. Lead the way. I watched as my daughter led my boss to the face painting booth, chattering excitedly the whole way. There was something surreal about seeing Eliza in this context, so far removed from the corporate environment where I usually encountered her. Throughout the afternoon, Eliza integrated seamlessly into the event. She made a generous donation to the playground fund, bought an impressive number of raffle tickets, and even volunteered to take a turn in the dunk tank, much to the delight of the children. By the end of the day, she had a small blue star painted on her cheek, courtesy of Madison, and seemed genuinely reluctant to leave. This was fun, she said as we walked to the parking lot, Madison skipping ahead of us. Thank you for letting me crash your Saturday. You didn't crash anything, I assured her. Everyone loved having you here. Especially Madison. Eliza smiled, watching my daughter. She's an incredible kid, James. You're doing an amazing job with her. I'm trying, I said. Some days are harder than others. That's true of everything worth doing. We reached her car, and Madison ran back to give her an impulsive hug. Will you come to my soccer game next weekend? She asked, looking up hopefully. I started to intervene. Madison had always been outgoing, but this was pushing boundaries, but Eliza answered before I could. Coming soon next part.